Initially, Erdogan refused to meet with Pence and Pompeo, but later changed his mind. The visit comes as Syrian Democratic forces continue to resist Turkey's assault on northeast Syria, with Turkey's self-proclaimed goal of establishing a safe zone for Syrian refugees. But the Turkish defense minister posted to his personal Facebook page a message and map that indicated Turkey's real ambitions could be much broader. The message said, "We have no eyes on anyone's soil. We will only take back what's ours." It includes a map with half of Syria, northern Iraq, as well as northern Greece, and all of Cyprus as part of Turkey. Meanwhile, Syrian forces rolled into the strategic border town of Kobani overnight, blocking the path of the Turkish military. The seizure of the town by forces loyal to Syrian President Bashar Assad marked a dramatic shift in power in northeastern Syria. In a phone interview with CBN News, Kino Gabriel, a Christian spokesman for the Syrian Democratic Forces, said they're still grappling with President Trump's sudden pullout of U.S. troops.
I think basically we would like to see more support from the U.S. government and maybe a change in the decision that was made by President Trump and the U.S. government regarding withdrawing from northeast Syria.
Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham told CBN founder Pat Robertson that he is expecting President Trump to step up to the plate.
This is a defining moment for President Trump. We need to stand by the Kurds. We need to push Turkey out of Syria, have a safe zone, keeping the Kurds and Turkey apart, and we need to partner with the Kurds regarding the oil field.
The U.S. troop pullout has also raised many concerns in Israel, particularly regarding Iran. Pompeo will reportedly head to Israel from Turkey to reassure Israeli leaders that the U.S. policy on Turkey would not harm Israel.
And Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem. Chris, what will be the goals of Vice President Pence and Secretary of State Pompeo? Break it down for us.
Well, Mark, I think their first goal is going to try to have a ceasefire on the Turkish-Syrian border. I think that's unlikely. President Erdogan seems defiant and vows that he's going to continue his mission until he completes this safe zone along the Turkish-Syrian border. I think the other thing is that they're really going to be facing a different worldview. As we said, the defense minister there really has more of a neo-Ottoman Empire kind of worldview. I think Erdogan has the same. I think that's part of underneath the rhetoric that we hear from Turkey right now. I think also they want to try to restore credibility to the United States, which has lost much of it by going back on an ally that has fought with the U.S. for several years and to defeat ISIS, and also perhaps restore some control and leverage on the situation. And if they can do that, maybe they can backtrack some of the damage that's been done and try to reverse and stop the humanitarian crisis right there as well.
And Chris, a key player in all of this is General Mazloum, the commander of the Syrian Democratic Forces. What is he saying now?
Well, first of all, General Mazloum is the commander of the SDF forces. This is the Syrian Democratic Forces, part of the military wing of this self-administration in northeast Syria, this new democratic government that's really teetering right now, and it's under threat that it may not survive, at least the way it had been for many years. And he's saying that he's looking to Russia as the guarantor of this agreement with the Syrian Democratic Forces and the Syrian regime. Now, as we have Syrian army troops, as we've seen in that report, in key towns along the border. And so he's looking to Russia as the guarantor. And that just shows you how much has changed in just a few days. They have Russian troops instead of U.S. troops. Now they're on the Turkish-Syrian border. And I think one other thing, I think there's a little wiggle room right now because the FDF said, he says, General Mazloum, that this was a military agreement, not a political one. So he says if Syria regime doesn't doesn't agree and complete its terms of the agreement, that's going to invalidate that agreement. So I think that's a window, too, for the U.S. to perhaps come in back into northeast Syria in a greater way than they are right now.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo plans to come to Israel to ease their concerns. What are Israel's concerned about the pullout of U.S. troops?
Well, you know, Israel hasn't been talked about in this whole thing. Senator Graham really brings it up. He did that in yesterday's interview with Pat Robertson, CBN's founder. And their danger in all of this is the fact that this might open up a window to Iran. Iran is waiting on the Iraqi-Syrian border with Iranian-backed Shiite militias to be able to come in and take over some of the richest oil fields in Syria. That would be an economic boom to Iran. That would be a danger to Israel. The other thing is that if Iran comes into any part of this northeast Syria region, that gets them much closer to Israel. Even though Israeli leaders, and especially Benjamin Netanyahu, hasn't said much during this whole crisis, except to say that he supports the Kurds, I know they're very concerned about the encroachment of Iran and this land corridor bridge that we have talked about many times from Tehran to the Mediterranean puts the Jewish state in much greater risk of danger, because the stated goal of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is to destroy the Jewish state and throw them into the sea.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Chris Mitchell reporting from Jerusalem. Thanks again.